Welcome to the 11th standard zoology class, Unit 2, Chapter 3, Tissue Level of Organization. This class we are going to see about how the cells forms as a tissues and how the tissues forms as a organ and how the organ forms as a organ system and organism. In the previous class we learned that is in the invertebrates, for example phylum Porifera, each cell performs a specific function. The cells are loosely arranged, they cannot able to form as a tissues, so each cell performs the function. What are the two type of cells in the sponsors? One is a choanocytes and second one is a panacocytes. But here in the multicellular organism, so what is a multicellular? Multi means what? Many. The organism made up of many cells. In the multicellular organism, the cells, each cell cannot able to function. The cells cannot able to function separately. Here the cells join to form as a tissue. The cells join to form as a tissue. Then this tissue join to form as a organ. And then this organ forms as a organ system. And then this organ system forms as a organism. So this is a basic levels of classification. The cells group together to form as a what? Tissue. The tissues forms as a organ. The organ forms as a organ system and the organism. For example, epithelial cells. So it forms a covering of our body. Then here it forms a tissues, epithelial tissues. It forms as a organ. For example, you take the digestive system. So the digestive system, it comprises what? Mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. So here all this mouth, then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, rectum and anus. All these are the organs. Okay. So this organs, it forms as a digestive system. That is a organ system, digestive system, and then digestive system, respiratory system, various types of organ system forms as a organism. Then next we are going to learn about living fabrics. The tissues are called as a living fabrics. It's a very important 2-mark question. Why the tissues are called as a living fabrics? Because each tissues, they are arranged in a regular pattern or else in the proportions. They are arranged in a specific pattern as well as in the proportions to form as a organ like a heart, kidney, lungs or any organ. The tissues are arranged in a pattern as well as in the proportion to form as an organ. Hence the tissues are called as a living fabrics. Then next we are going to learn about the histology. So logy means what? Study. Histo means what? Tissues. So what is a histology? Say the answer. The study about the tissues. The study of tissue is called as a histology. It's a 1-mark question. So we learned here 2-mark question. Why the tissues are called as a living fabrics? Because each tissues are arranged in a specific proportion as well as in the pattern to form as a organs like a heart, lungs, liver, kidney or any organs in our body. Hence the tissues are called as a living fabrics. Then what is a histology? The study about the tissues or study of tissue is called as a histology. We are going to learn about animal tissues. So these animal tissues are classified into 4 basic tissues. It is classified into 4 basic tissues based on the size, structure and function of the cells. So first one is an epithelial tissue. What is the first animal tissue? First one is an epithelial tissue. Then second one is a connective tissue. Second one is a connective tissue. Third one is a muscle tissue. Then fourth one is a nervous tissue. So what are the 4 types of the animal tissue? First one is a epithelial tissue. Second one is a connective tissue. Third one is a muscle tissue. And fourth one is a nervous tissue. So epithelial, it always forms a covering of the body. For example, The skin, you can see the epithelial tissue. It forms a covering of our body. Then connective tissue means what? It always gives the support. Then our muscular tissue, it helps in the movement. Then our nervous tissue, it helps in the control of the nerve signals. So there are four basic animal tissues. First one is an epithelial tissue. Second one is an connective tissue. Third one is a muscular tissue. Fourth one is a nervous tissue. The functions of the epithelial tissue is a covering, connective tissue support, muscular tissue movement, and nervous tissue control. Then first we are going to learn about the epithelial tissue. So this epithelial tissue is a simple tissue and it is consists of a single layer of flattened cells. It consists of a single layer of flattened cells. So the epithelial tissue consists of single layer of flattened cells, and here the main function of the epithelial cells, the first one is absorption. That is, in the small intestine there are finger-like projections called as a villi. This villi helps to absorb the product. So here the first one is an absorption, second one is a protection. Then our third function is a filtration. Then a secretion and excretion. So it's a 2-mark question. What are the functions of the epithelial tissue? What is the first function? Absorption, protection, filtration, secretion and excretion. Again, this epithelial tissue is classified into two. So one is a simple epithelium and second one is a compound. This epithelial tissue is classified into 5 types. First one is a squamous epithelium. What is the first one? Squamous epithelium. Then the second one is a cuboidal epithelium. Second one is a cuboidal epithelium. Third one is a columnar. Third one is a columnar. Fourth one is a ciliator. Then fifth one is a pseudo-stratified. Fifth one is a pseudo-stratified. Epithelium is classified into simple and compound. In the simple epithelium tissue, it consists of 5 types. What is the first one? Squamous epithelium. Second one is a cuboidal epithelium. Third one is a columnar. Fourth one is a ciliator. And the fifth one is a pseudo-stratified epithelium. Next, we are going to learn about the squamous epithelium. So this squamous epithelium is a single layer of flattened cells. It's a single layer of flattened cells with the irregular boundaries. See the yellow color one with the irregular boundaries. So what is the first one? Squamous epithelium is a single layer of flattened cells with the irregular boundaries. Then where you can see this squamous epithelium, you can see the squamous epithelium in the glomerulus of the kidney. So this is a glomerulus where the blood filtration takes place. Glomerulus of the kidney, then axis of the alveoli. The trachea divides into 2 branches. Each branch that is called as a bronchus. Then when the bronchus enters into the lungs, this bronchus divides into many branches. The bronchus divides into many branches. That is called as a bronchioles. That is called as what? Bronchioles. It ends with the axis or alveoli. So here you can see the squamous epithelium in the axis of the alveoli. So where you can see the squamous epithelium in the glomerulus of the kidney. Then a second one in the axis of the alveoli. The trachea divides into 2 branches. That is called as what? Bronchus. When this bronchus enters into the lungs, it divides into many branches. That is called as what? Bronchioles. This bronchioles ends with the axis or alveoli. So you can see the squamous epithelium in the glomerulus of the kidney, then axis of the lungs, then blood vessels as well as in the lymphatic vessels. So next we are going to learn about what is a lymphatic vessel. So here in the blood vessel there are minute openings are there. In the blood vessel, there are minute openings are there. When the blood flows in, except the RBC, the other cells falls off and form another circulating system that is called as a lymphatic system. So you can study it in the detail in the next chapter. So here, where you can see the squamous epithelium, glomerulus of the kidney, air sacs of the lungs, blood vessels as well as in the lymphatic vessel. So the main function is a filtration and protection. So what is the function of the squamous epithelium? Filtration and protection. The next we are going to learn about the cuboidal epithelium. Next one is the cuboidal epithelium, and here the cells are cube-like cells. It is also single layer with the cube-like cells. Here you can see it in the kidney tubules. You can see the cuboidal epithelium in the kidney tubules. That is glomerulus, nephron. So this is called as a kidney tubules, proximal coronary tubule, distal coronary tubule, and then the collecting duct. So the cuboidal epithelium, it is seen in the kidney tubules as well as in the surface of the oval, that is in the female reproductive system. So here the main function is a secretion in function. So what is the first point in the cuboidal? It is a cube-like cells, where you can see the cuboidal cells in the kidney tubules as well as in the surface of the ovary. The main function is a secretion. Then next we are going to learn about the columnar, and here also it is a single layer of cells with the tall flattened cells, and the nucleus it is seen at the base. The columnar is a single layer of tall cells with the nucleus at the base, and here you can see these columnar epithelium cells from the in the digestive tract, from the stomach to the rectum. You can see the columnar epithelial cells from the stomach to the rectum, and here this columnar cells is modified into two. The first one is a microvilli. Then a second one is a goblet cells. This microvilli, you can see it in the small intestine. The small intestine has many finger-like projections, that is called as what? Villi. So what is the main function of the small intestine? That is in the absorption. It helps in the absorption. So here in the small intestine, it has many finger-like projections. It is called as what? Villi. So here the columnar cell is modified into the microvilli, and second one is a goblet cells. This goblet cell, it secretes a substance called as a mucus. It's a very important 1 mark question. Which secretes a mucus? Goblet cell secretes a mucus. And here the function is also, it is a secretory and absorption in function. Next we are going to learn about the ciliated epithelial cells. If the columnar cells, if there is a presence of cilia on the columnar cells, then it is called as a ciliated epithelial cells. It is also a tall cell, a nucleus is present at the base, but there is a presence of cilia at the end. Hence it is called as a ciliated. It is of two types. One is a ciliated and second one is a non-ciliated. The ciliated epithelial cells is classified into two types. One is a ciliated and second one is a non-ciliated. Ciliated means what? There is a presence of cilia. Non-ciliated, there is no cilia is present. This ciliated, it is seen in the bronchioles. So what is an bronchioles? The trachea divides into two branches. Each branch is known as what? Bronchus. When the bronchus enters into the lungs, it divides into many branches. These branches are called as what? Bronchioles. It ends with the air sacs or alveoli. So here this ciliated epithelial cells, it is seen in the bronchioles. Then fallopian duct. So fallopian duct is nothing but the female reproductive system, where the ovum is taken and then it is passed on to the uterus. So this is called as a fallopian duct. So this ciliated, it is seen in the bronchioles as well as in the fallopian duct. So this non-ciliated, it is seen in the, it lines the digestive tract. And then the main function is that absorption and secretion. And then the main function, as it is a ciliator, it propels the mucus. So what is propels? That is, it helps to or move the or push the mucus in a one particular direction, that is called as a propels. So the main function is to propel the mucus. Then the next one is a pseudo-stratified. What is the next one? Pseudo-stratified. So this pseudo means what? False. Pseudo means what? False. This pseudo-stratified is also a columnar single cells. It is a columnar single cell, but it looks like a multicellular. It looks like a multi-layer because due to the presence of nucleus is present at the different places in the different site of the cell. Hence, as though even though it is a single layer, it looks like a multicellular. Why means because the nucleus is present at the different levels at the different sites of the cells. Hence, it is called as a pseudo-stratified. It is a 2-mark question. Why it is called as a pseudo-stratified? It is a single layer, but it appears like a multicellular. Why means the nucleus is present at the different levels at the different sites of the cells. Hence, it is called as a pseudo-stratified. Next, we are going to learn about the glandular epithelium. So what is a glandular? What comes in your mind? That is a secretion. If cuboidal or columnar, get specialized for the secretions. If cuboidal or columnar get specialized for secretions, then it is called as a glandular epithelium. Again, this glandular epithelium is classified into 2 types. First one is a unicellular. Uni means what? Single. Multi means what? Many. That is, if there is a single or isolated or separated gland cell is present, then it is called as a unicellular glandular epithelium. That is, a isolated glandular cell is present. For example, the blood cells. The blood cell secretes what? It secretes a mucus. Multicellular means what? Many. If there is a cluster of gland cells are present, then it is called as a multicellular glandular epithelium. Example, salivary gland. Then again, this multicellular glandular epithelium is classified into 2 types. So first one is an exocrine gland. And second one is an endocrine gland. Exo means what? Outside. Endo means what? Inside. So this exocrine gland, it always secretes enzymes, then mucus, saliva, then oil or the sebum. So here they have the duct to carry the secretion. Hence it is called as a duct gland. The exocrine gland, it is otherwise called as what? Duct gland. It secretes enzymes, mucus, saliva, oil or the sebum. So this endocrine gland, it always secretes hormones. The endocrine gland, it always secretes hormones. There is no specific vessel or tube or duct to carry the secretions. Hence it is called as a ductless gland. You will get 2 mark question. Differentiate between the exocrine gland and the endocrine gland. So the exocrine gland, it always secretes what? Enzymes, mucus, saliva, oil or the sebum. They have the vessel or duct to carry the secretion. Hence it is called as what? Duct gland. This endocrine gland, it always secretes hormones. They don't have the vessel or tube or duct to carry the secretions. Hence it is called as a ductless gland. Then based on the secretion, it is classified into 3 types. First one, based on the structure, it is classified into simple and complex. compound. Based on the structure, it is classified into simple and compound. This multicellular glandular epithelium, based on the structure, it is classified into simple and compound. Then based on the secretory units, it is classified into three types. The first one is a tubular. Then a second one is a alveolar. Then a third one is a tubulo-alveolar. So tubular means what? What comes in your mind? That is a hollow. So say the organs which are hollow in nature. Think and say which are the organs which are hollow in nature. Example, intestine. Then trachea. Can you understand? So the hollow organs, it includes the tubular. Then alveolar or the air sacs, that is the bronchioles. The trachea divides into many branches, that is known as what? Bronchus. This bronchus, when it enters into the lungs, it is known as what? Bronchiolus. It ends with the air sacs or alveoli. Second one is an alveolar. Then what is this tubulo-alveolar? It is nothing but the branched tubules. That is a bronchioles. So the alveoli is nothing but the air sacs. This tubulo-alveolar is nothing but the bronchioles or the branched tubules. Based on the secretory units, it is classified into three. First one is a tubular, second one is an alveolar, and third one is a tubulo-alveolar. Then again, based on the secretion, again it is classified into three. So first one is a merocrine. Based on the secretion, listen ma. Based on the structure, it is classified into two. One is a simple and compound. Then based on the secretory units, it is classified into three. Tubular, alveolar. Then a third one, based on the secretions, first it is classified into merocrine. Say that term, merocrine. Then second one is a holocrine. Then third one is an apocrine. Based on the secretions, again it is classified into three types. What is the first one? Merocrine, holocrine and apocrine. So here this merocrine, it is the secretions takes place through the exocytosis. That is, it secretes a sweat gland. Example, sweat gland. Then this holocrine, that is the entire lysis or disintegration of the cell takes place. It secretes a sebaceous gland or the oil gland. Then this apocrine, it secretes through the membrane bounded vesicles. Example, mammary gland, that is a secretion of the milk. All this detail is not given in textbook, so but you must know it. So the merocrine gland, that is it secretes a sweat gland. Holocrine, sebaceous gland or the oil gland. Then apocrine is a mammary gland. Then next we are going to learn about the compound epithelium. So compound epithelium means what? It is a multi-layer. This compound epithelium is classified into stratified and transitional. It is classified into two types. One is a stratified and second one is a transitional. So what is a stratified? It consists of two or more cells which are attached to the basement membrane, that is called as a stratified. Then this transitional, it is also a type of a stratified compound multi-layered cell, but it plays a very important role in the contraction and relaxation, or expansion. Then again this compound, the main function of the compound epithelium, the first one, it gives protection. It gives protection against chemical and the mechanical stress. Then a second one, it covers the dry area of the skin. Then a third one, moist content of our body. That is a esophagus, buccal cavity, then vagina. That is it includes the moist content of our body. So what is the first function of compound epithelium? Protection against chemical and the mechanical stress. It includes covers the dry area of our skin, then a moist content of our body like a esophagus, then vagina. Then again this compound epithelium, it is of four types. First one is a stratified squamous epithelium. What is the first one? Stratified squamous epithelium. Then second one is a cuboidal. Then third one is a columnar. Then fourth one is a transitional. So what are the four types of the compound epithelium? First one is a stratified squamous epithelium. Then a second one is a cuboidal epithelium. Third one is a columnar, and fourth one is a transitional. Again, this stratified squamous epithelium, it is of two types. One is a keratinized. One is a keratinized. And second one is a non-keratinized. One is a keratinized and second one is a non-keratinized. So this keratinized, it includes the dry area of our skin. Then this non-keratinized, it includes the moist content of our body. This keratinized squamous epithelium is classified into two. What are they? One is a keratinized and second one is a non-keratinized. Again, this stratified cuboidal epithelium, it includes the sweat gland and the mammary gland. Then stratified columnar epithelium, it includes the pharynx. Then male urethra, it is a passage for urine as well as for the passage to pass the sperm, and then the glandular duct. Then a transitional epithelium, it includes the ureter, then a urinary bladder, and then the urethra. Then next we are going to learn about the cell junctions. Here, this cells, which helps to communicate with each other cells. There are three types of junctions are there. The first one is a tight junction. What is the first one? Tight junction. Then second one is a adhering junction. Adhering means what? Attachment. Then third one is a gap junction. What is the third one? Gap junction. It's a very important 3-mark question. What are the three types of junction? First one is a tight junction. Second one is a adhering junction. Third one is a gap junction. So first we see about the tight junction. So here, this is the cell, first cell and the second cell. Here in the tight junction, the cells are intact, tightly placed to avoid the gap. So the cell looks like this. So this is called as what? Tight junction. There is no intercellular gap between the cells. So that is that cells are tightly held together by the tight junction. You cannot able to see any gap between the two cells. Then the second one is why the cells are tightly packed? To avoid the leakage. To avoid the leakage of the substances. Then the second one is an adhering cell. And here adhering means what? Attachment. Here the cells, it forms a cement-like substance to keep the next neighboring cells intact with each other. That is, the cells are held together. So this is called as what? Adhering junction. It forms a cementing substance between the two cells. That is called as a adhering junction. Then a third one is a gap junction. Third one is a gap junction. Here the cells, in between the two cells, you can see the gap. Between the two cells, you can see the gap because it helps to communicate with each other. It helps to communicate with each other. That is, it helps to pass the ions or nutrients or transport of any substances between the two cells. Hence, it is called as a gap junction. So, what are the three types of junction? First one is a tight junction. So, what is the reason for the tight junction? To avoid the leakage. Then a second one is a adhering junction. It forms a cementing substance. That is, it helps the neighboring or adjoining cells together without any gap. Then third one is a gap junction. There is a gap between the two cells to allow the passage or flow of substances between the two cells to transport the ions or nutrients or any substances between the two cells, that is called as a gap junction. We just recall the topic. Why the tissues are called as a living fabrics? The tissues are arranged in a proportions as well as in the pattern to form a organs like a heart, liver or any organs in our body. Why it is called as a living fabrics? The tissues are arranged in a specific proportion and pattern to form organs in our body. Hence the tissues are called as a living fabrics. Then what are types of epithelial tissue? Squamous, columnar, cuboidal and pseudostratified. Then why it is called as a pseudostratified? Even though it is a single layer, but it looks like a multi-layer due to the appearance of the nucleus at the different levels in the cell. Hence it is called as a pseudostratified. Then what's the difference between the exocrine gland and the endocrine gland? The exocrine gland always secretes enzymes. Then the endocrine gland always secretes hormones. It has a vessel to carry the secretion. Hence it is called as a duct gland. There is no vessel or tube or duct to carry the secretion. Hence it is called as a endocrine gland. Then next class we'll see the connective tissue. Thank you children.